Hey, what up out there, YouTube heads? Travel Wolves in the building. We're back. So today, real quick, we're going to talk about that Black Futures Month Symposium. I've been promising you guys. It's already planned out for 2024. It's going to happen February 29th. It's going to happen depending on what time zone you're in. I set up a pretty good time zone. I can't recall the time zones, but I'll make sure to put it in the description box in the link below. So what are we going to talk about, right? Well, we're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about how AI is going to change YouTube. A lot of y'all are going to have to find a new line of work, all you YouTubers. We're going to talk about robotics. We're going to talk about crypto, mainly Ethereum name service. We're going to talk about blockchain chat. We're going to talk about so many different things, so many new advances in technology happening right now as we speak, and how you can benefit from them, how you can prepare yourself. What does the new industrial or the fourth turning, fifth turning, what's it going to look like for you in the next couple of months? Because this is all happening in real time like that, you know? So I got a lot of things that you're going to want to learn about. And so that's what the symposium is going to be. It's the 2024 Black Futures Month Symposium. And the tickets are going to be $450. It's going to be about a 2-hour symposium. I'm going to speak for 2 hours, have a little bit of Q&A later on, but I want to present to you a lot of things. So make sure you go down in the description box. Oh, also tickets are limited. It's exclusive. I like to keep it small. I like this information to be very impactful. And the best way to do that is to keep it small. So I'm only selling 25 tickets. So if you miss out, you miss out. I'll have a little waiting list, but it'll be last minute if someone wants a refund or they don't show up or something like that. So February 29th, 2024, Black Futures Month Symposium. Tickets are $450 and the capacity is going to be 25. It's going to be on a platform called Hop In. Like I said, all that will be in the description box below. When you watch this video, you can check all that out, okay? So that's the first thing. Now, today, real quick, we're going to talk about social sciences. We're going to get kind of boring, but I want to give you guys a little bit of a informative video for once, you know, change it up a little bit, right? Because I kind of realized I got roped into some stuff, you know, and I don't want to really go down that road all the time. I'm all about the smoke, but sometimes I said to myself, maybe if I clarify, I'm going to try to talk a little bit slower. Maybe if I clarify what this is really all about, then maybe people will kind of understand what it is that is missing from the lives of males and how does it affect us and why is it driving us, right? There's something missing from our lives and it's really driving us and we don't understand what it is, okay? But without rehashing a bunch of arguments, and there's been a bunch of arguments about socialization, mating, socializing, mating, and dating in the Western world. Without rehashing any of those arguments, I'm just going to kind of give you an answer to what it is that you're really doing, right? It's a question. This is the answer. So without further ado, we're going to talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, this is the 1943 paradigm. This is how long it's been out, since 1943. Now, Abraham Maslow was an American psychologist who created Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's a psychological theory of what motivates you, what gets you up in the morning, what drives you, what gives you your passion, how do you move from one stage to a next stage to a next stage in your life towards one goal, self-actualization. And quite simply, you can research that for yourself, but my interpretation of self-actualization is it is just me realizing my full potential. And he discovered the theory that one cannot reach their full potential until a lot of needs are met. A lot of needs have to be met, right? So this is the 1943 paradigm. It's pretty rough. It's been updated to this. It's been updated to this. More colorful, more snazzy, you know, right? So people say, okay, We have, again, like I said, I can only speak for African-American men and some black men if they accept me to speak for them. But I can only speak for African-American men because I'm African-American man. I can't speak for any of the other men, because they have their own things going on. So I can only speak for us. Now, people say that there is a large column of us traveling the globe, and it's not really that many. I actually have my eggheads working on the numbers for you right now, and I'm going to have how many African-American men have passports, where they travel, how often they travel, what they spend, and how many of them are in one country at a particular time every quarter. So I'm going to have those numbers for you because I think that's going to kill this argument, right? It's going to kill this argument. So look out for that video. It's going to be called The Argument to Kill All Arguments. That's what that video is going to be called. Coming soon. A couple of weeks, I'll have all that information for you. So a lot of people are out here with this progenitive, basically I call it a racial slur at this point. It's called passport bros. I call them peanut butter and jelly, right? It's a progenitive, it's a racial slur. And so they say that we're all out here in the hundreds of thousands. The way they talk about it's the hundreds of thousands. I estimate it's really more like low 10,000s. Like when I say tens, I mean really low, like maybe 20,000 tops around the globe in different quarters, right? So that's really like 5,000 a quarter every 3 months, traveling in different countries and such. But what is the reason? What is the reason that so many of us leave a place that we're very familiar with, we're very rooted in, we're very comfortable with? What is the reason that many of us leave and off we go to foreign lands where we have difficulties communicating, we have difficulties understanding the culture? I could tell you a lot of misunderstandings happen every day, but it's just that. It's just misunderstandings because there's a difference in the culture. So right here is the modern version of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And as you see, you have the psychological needs, you have the safety needs, you have love and belonging, you have esteem, and you have self-actualization, okay? And by the way, I hope you like the new Winner Circle Polo. It's red. I just got this in today, made to measure. Don't forget to place your order, made to measure, Winner Circle. I got some new drip coming out real soon for you, but this is, we got more versions of the colors coming out. We'll talk about that in the next couple of days. But right now, this is the red one. I love it. It looks good on me. This is different than the other red one I had because that one was silk. This one is cotton. And of course, as you can see, the collar is different. The collar is white and crisp and everything. So hope you guys like this one. You can get any color you want, but I have a particular set of colors that work well with me and I can coordinate it to my style of dress, okay? So anyway, now back to this. So Maslow said that in order to reach the top here, which is the blue part, this blue part right here, self-actualization, desire to become the most that one can be. That can be anything for a lot of people, okay? For me, it's personal, but I have a set amount of number. I have a set number that says this is my accumulation of riches. This is my number. This is my future for myself, how I see myself when I'm an old man, and my legacy, all right? How I want the people that are right now, like my niece and my nephew and maybe some children, grandchildren, right? What I want them to think about me when they get to be my age that I am today, all right? So that's self-actualization. Now, how do I get there? How do I stay motivated? How do I keep the drive? How do I move through these, right? So Maslow says, first, you got to meet your psychological needs. You got to meet your air, water, food, shelter, sleep and clothing, and reproduction. So there we go. Now, right now, what's going on in the Western world? Pretty difficult. Mating, dating, it's pretty complicated. I say personally, subjectively, it's non-existent. It's a waste of time. I wouldn't waste any more time doing it. You're going to get the same outcome. We see all the TikTok videos. If I could find out a way to get all this together, and I think I have, I'm going to show you how it's all been bastardized. Where you have, like, you go out on a date and the woman says, no restaurant is good enough. Shoot, if I said Benihana, she might say, that's not good enough. So now you're picking Michelin 4-star restaurants. And maybe she says, well, that's not good enough either, right? So you're dealing with an illusion of success. Look that up. An illusion of success, which is why it's a wrap. It's dead. But what happens with that is while we can do the air, the water, food, shelter, sleep, and clothing, like I got my clothing together, right? When I have a sleep problem, I got my sleep problem together, right? Shelter, food, right? I'm a fat boy. Water, air, right? But the reproduction is not being met. Now, here goes the thing. In order to move to the next tier, the safety needs, you have to meet all these needs at the bottom. So if the reproduction isn't being met, guess what? You can't advance to the next level. Now, there's some men out there who are able to make the reproduction needs occur for them. They're not so picky. They pretty much settled. They're like, okay, should do. She's got a good head, no mental illness in the family. Everybody comes out healthy and, you know, normal, right? So you get the reproduction needs met. Now you go to the next level, which is the safety needs. There you have your personal security, your employment, your resources, health, and property. Now, by the way, I forgot this part. I'm also going to have a link to a checklist below, and you'll be able to get more details about each of these and also check off on the list to see where you're at, to see what you have, what you don't have, okay? So we can come back and focus on those. I'll do another symposium probably in the spring, probably around Father's Day, where we'll work on those together, right? So, because I have this same issue too. I'm trying to get to the top, just like everybody else. I'm trying to get up here. So for me, I'll get vulnerable with you guys. For me, I don't have children. So for me, reproductive. So I haven't really been able to go past psychological because I don't have any kids. I haven't met the reproductive version of myself yet, right? So I'm still at the bottom. But let's say I have kids. A lot of you have kids. So now you go to safety needs, personal safety, employment, resources, health, property. Now we know as African-American men living in America, personal safety is one we're not meeting. Employment is another one. Resources, health, and property are all ones that we're not meeting. So we don't even have those yet, right? So without those, we can't even go to the next one. But I'm just going to go over all of them because some of us have these things working for us and some of us don't. So now you go to the next one. And this one is very interesting. You have love and belonging. That's this one right here. Friendship, intimacy, family, sense of connection. Okay? Friendship. My personal opinion, this era, I don't want to use that word. Is it apathy? Apathetic? But I want to say really, I'll say antisocial, but let me take a look here. I think the word I want to use is apathetic, which means a hatred of humankind. No, that's not it. But I would say this is a very antisocial society. And that's another discussion. But let me see, hold on, let me see here. A hatred, let me see here. What is that word? A hatred of humans. I want to say really that this era has a hatred of humans. They hate humanity, a hatred of humanity. That's what it is. There's a word, misanthrope. Yeah. I would say today, a lot of African-American men are misanthrope. Okay. And we'll talk about that more later, but it's just basically simply a hatred or a general dislike of human species, meaning us. We have a general hatred and a general dislike of each other. I see it every day. It's insane. Everything. It's insane. It's insane. So that right there goes into personal security and resources and health, mental health, right? So these are all the things that got to be met. Now, I don't got to go into everything in detail, but we know unemployment is high for us. We know we don't have a lot of economic wealth. That's resources. We can't rely on each other. We know we have health problems. And we know we don't really own a lot of property. There was a thing I just saw today about how most of the single homeowners are women. That's another thing they're throwing in our face, right? Women are the largest group of single homeowners in America. So then you got that. Now, there are a few of us that maybe have personal security. I don't think any of us have personal security unless you leave the snakes and have our own company or are retired and have saved a substantial amount of wealth or created a substantial amount of wealth for themselves, have good health, and own a home abroad in another country, or maybe even in the snakes. They meet those safety needs. They can go to the next level, which is love and belonging. And love and belonging is the friendships, the intimacy, family, sense of connection. Like I just mentioned, we're very antisocial, so you could cut off friendships. What do I mean by that? Well, people throw this term around, socially awkward. Again, like I said, even these jargons are awful. The jargons that we use are awful. Socially awkward, where did that come from? But I'll give you an example. People talk about things like this, but they behave in the same way. That's another thing I'll go into some other time. But so, for example, for me personally, I have gone to places, and all of this has happened right here in Thailand. I have hung out with people. Well, I have been acquainted with people, gone to a place with them, and then for whatever reason, I decided, you know what? I don't want to deal with that person no more. That person is too pessimistic for me. Or they're a cynic. One or the other. Too pessimistic, too cynical. I don't want to deal with them. So I end the interaction favorably, and then I go to another place and I see them there, and they act like they don't even know me. And of course, I just keep my distance, but they really act like they don't even know me. So that's what I mean by socially awkward. They create a socially awkward event themselves. Now, I may be like, hey, what's up? How you doing? You know, shake their hand, or I may send them a drink just as a gesture of kindness to acknowledge that I'm in the same room as somebody who I used to go to the same place with. So when we talk about, and the funny thing is, some of these people that I've experienced this with have used that term socially awkward in describing others and sometimes describing myself. But the point is, this is the behavior that they exhibit. I'm just a private person. I just like my anonymity. I just like to be anonymous. I don't like a whole lot of attention and fanfare, and I don't do well with strangers, and I don't do all that stuff, right? I know that, so I keep my reserve. I keep myself reserved, but that's what I mean. Intimacy and family. Now, intimacy, of course, can be many things, but for African-American men, when we think about intimacy, we think about a female, a woman, right? That's what we contribute intimacy to. And that might be one of the reasons why we left the snakes to go find that, because we're not finding that in the West. So a lot of brothers, I think, that are up here on this third level, love and belonging, they don't have the friendships, some of them, but they don't have the friendships. If they're in a fraternity or some type of male organization, they would have the friendships, like a frat definitely have the friendships, the brotherhood, right? Something along those lines, but they definitely lack the intimacy with women, so they travel. Family is affected by that because now they're away from their kids and their wife. I've known guys that were married and got children. They got all the things that I want. And I'm like, why are you here? Why are you out here? I know why I'm out here. I'm a self-proclaimed playboy. Self-proclaimed playboy, I just kid. But, you know, I am a playboy. But you have a family. When you travel 4 months out of the year, 5, 6 months out of the year, you're away from your family, you know? So in the search for intimacy, the family is hurt, right? And again, you have a sense of connection. Do we have communities in these other countries, right? I went to Brazil many years ago when I first started traveling because I was told that was where there was a expat community of African-American men. It doesn't exist. Just doesn't exist. There's a handful of dudes down there that boast about being down there for many, many years. But when I went down there, and I'm talking about going back to the Allen Harpers and those type of guys that took over for the late, great Charles Tyler, may he rest in power, who brought us all out here. Really, I credit a lot of this to Charles Tyler. But anyway, it just didn't exist. You know what I'm saying? It just didn't exist. And I really felt like a lone wolf, a lone gun. And that's where that comes from, Travel Wilf. So, sense of connection, right? So you can't get to the next level till you get that. Then there's esteem. So we have respect, self-esteem, status, recognition, strength, freedom. And I don't think any of us are there. So I don't need to go any further. None of us are there with esteem because the mothers, the women who look like us, need I say more? Like I said, I don't want to create other arguments or rehash new arguments, but that part we haven't even got there, obviously, right? Maybe a couple of us have self-esteem. But like I said, before you can go to each of the levels, you have to complete the whole level. So for me, unfortunately, I'm still at psychological needs because I don't have the reproduction. Even though I'm meeting my safety needs and I'm not really meeting my love and belonging, but I'm meeting my safety needs, I really can't stand on safety needs until I get the reproduction out of the way. So with that being said, you know what time it is. It's baby making time. But how has that been going? Well, hasn't been going too well. The pickings are slim, but I just don't want to be involved with somebody because you want a child, you know? And then again, I have a whole set of priorities and a whole set of principles. So whoever I choose to be a wife or whatever, I would have to know them for several years, like 3 or 4 years before I even consider them to be something serious. So counting off the time I have left, I got to do this really soon because a lot of guys have already given me advice and they've told me I might have to consider that window of opportunity has gone away. It's over. I had many chances. I overlooked them. I didn't take them seriously. That window of opportunity is gone. Move on. Find a new purpose. But one thing I think I would really regret is not having children. That's one thing I think I would really, really regret. So I raised my niece and my nephew. They're like my children surrogately, but it's not the same thing. I don't think it's not the same thing as hearing something you created, something you bring into the world, call you father, you know? I think that really would change me a lot. So, but anyway, this is what this is all about. I show you guys this because I want you to go and study, do your own take, leave your feedback in the comments below, and let me know what you think and how you feel about what I'm talking about. If you have a better insight to it, I welcome that objectiveness too, because I'm still growing and learning. And this is just something I've been toying around with myself for several years, trying to figure out. So if you are a licensed psychologist and you can explain it better, please do. But I'm doing the best I can to just introduce us to something new. Because like I said, the last couple of weeks have been very fun, very interesting. But I don't know how I got roped into a lot of stuff. I welcome it though. Because I see the brothers being taken advantage of. I hate to say brothers, but I see African-American men being taken advantage of, being attacked. And I feel it's my honor to stand up and defend us, even against those who look like us. Because guess what? They say all skin folk ain't your kinfolk, right? So, hey, I'm all for that. And people come at me and try to say, hey, these crazy things that they want to do and these crazy allegations and things, and they say these crazy things that aren't true. Like, I'm supposed to be quiet. I'm supposed to back down. I'm not supposed to stand up for myself and my own kind. And to that, I say, never going to happen. So make sure you check this out, Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs. Make sure you click the link below for the 2024 Black Futures Month Symposium. It's going to be a great discussion I'm going to share with you guys. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this has broken up the monotony of what's going on. Something different, something nerdy. Yes, like I said, I'm a big nerd. And like I said, let me know in the comments, where are you on the paradigm? I'm still here only because of one thing. As you know, I have a clothing brand, so the clothing's met. And I had some sleep issues. I got that taken care of. Shelter, food, air, water. That's always been taken care of. The food, the shelter, right? The air, the water, that's a basic. Reproduction, I don't have. But for safety needs, I have all the safety needs. So maybe that's what's affected my love and belonging with friendships. and intimacy, right? Because I'm not really officially on these two levels until I accomplish reproduction. So, but this is the goal. This is the goal we all want. Self-actualization. Desire to become the most that one can be. Put away the pettiness, act in a certain principled way, that you put away the pettiness, you put away the drama, you put away all that. Somebody keeps throwing these scriptures out, but I'll throw this one at them. I'm not even going to name them because I don't want to keep this stuff going. But I would say there's a saying that it's a biblical saying that goes, where I was a boy, I acted like a boy, I thought like a boy. When I became a man, I put away all my boyhood things or childish things, right? When I was a child, something like that. So that's all I got to say for today, guys. And once again, thank you for watching. Don't forget to ask me any questions about the symposium. And thank you for your day. Peace.